In this video, we're talking about generating payroll numbers, that is, having Callgo calculate how much to pay a provider. Providers can calculate their own pay as well, so they can pace themselves throughout the month against their practice goals. We start off in our location, Tango Zulu, and navigate to the payroll generator in the menu. I've logged in using my own account, which has the service provider Hafner Corey attached to it. If you're a provider consulting the payroll generator to calculate your pay, you would see your own service provider record here. We'll pretend for now that we are Hafner and click on our provider name below the heading My Payroll. This is how we navigate to our own payroll generated numbers. There are other controls available for payrollers in the location, which allow them to run payroll numbers for all staff. When I've selected the provider, in this case, myself, I have three menu items: pay schedules, pay history, and calculator. We're going to focus on pay schedules and calculator in this video. Under pay schedules, we can see that this provider has more than one pay schedule. There is one for Physinet Danforth and one for location Tango Zulu. There is a third one here for null location. Most users will not see this one, and we're going to ignore it in this video. We clicked on Tango Zulu just now, so we're looking at the pay schedule for this provider in location Tango Zulu. The hourly rate for this provider at Tango Zulu is 0. We'll ignore the customer service rate for now. In the schedule details, you can see the full description of how this provider is to be paid. We'll look at this pay schedule in a text editor so we can see it more clearly and possibly make some changes. We see that there are many lines in the schedule. Each one pertains to a payment plan type, implying that there is a method of pay specifically for each payment plan type. The details of the line for SRC patients indicate that from a patient's 1st to 30th session with this provider, the provider will be paid 6% of the commission base. For further clarity, the percentage here is applied to the commission base. It is not applied to the amount of the service. Consult previous videos regarding the entry of commission-based amounts. From the 31st to 60th sessions, the provider will be paid 7% of the commission base, and from the 61st session and later, the provider will be paid 8% of the associated commission base. This means that if a provider doesn't enter a commission base, there will be no pay for the session. It should also be noted that no commission bases are created automatically or manually when there is no service. So when a location subscribes to the use of commission bases and the payroll generator, all providers that are paid through this automated process have a deep interest in ensuring that billings are complete and accurate. There are more details in each of these lines which we'll ignore for now. We can discuss them in later videos where we'll talk about fine-tuning pay schedules. For now, just note that each payment plan type has a pay schedule. And for this particular pay schedule, there are others that use different pay algorithms. The payroll generator automates the counts of sessions and figures out exactly how much to pay a provider for the time they spent with each patient. So let's run a calculation and see what we come up with. We'll run numbers for the beginning of the year to July 23rd. We could choose any interval. We're choosing this one in this case because we happen to know that there are a large number of commission bases entered for this provider, and we need to show you some results. If you've watched other videos on payroll, you'll know that we entered some commission-based data for May 18th for this provider, so you'll likely see some payroll amounts from that data. Once the calculation is done, we see one line that summarizes the result. Had the pay schedule been one that worked with hours work time, you would see more data in the columns that relate to hourly pay. We saw that this provider is not paid hourly but on commission, so there is a value for gross commission. The generator works with salary, bonus, and expense amounts as well, which we'll discuss in later videos. In this case, the calculation has generated a total of $31.55 of commission for this provider. We need to see the details related to this, so we click on this line and see a reiteration of the pay schedule that generated the numbers, and further down we see details related to each of the patients that were serviced and which had commission-based amounts attached to them. Please note these are not real patient names, and the pay schedule we're using here is not Corey's real pay schedule. We created a sample pay schedule so that we could generate some payroll numbers for this video. For the patient, the scene, a commission of $3.60 was calculated for the May 18th session. This amount is for the first session that the scene has had with this provider. Had May 18th been the 40th or 80th session with this provider, this value would be higher since that's what the pay schedule specified. The generator counts the services rendered by this provider to each patient and compiles pay according to the pay schedule on record. Quite often there are other things you will want to do with payroll output. You may want a paper record for reference purposes. If you're a provider, you may want to discuss them with your director. If you're a director, you may want to discuss providers' numbers with them. In any case, you can click Prepare Download Details to generate a text file, then click Download Details to bring the file down. This file is like many files that Caligo publishes. You can open it in Excel and perform whatever manipulations you see fit. We'll perform a simple ordering of the output so you can think of things you would do with this data. We'll get rid of the extra headers and leave the data behind. Next, let's say we're a director and want to run payroll on another provider, Max Headroom in this case. We're still in Tango Zulu. Let's go to Jan 1 again and generate numbers for this provider. We see the familiar progress bar indicating the patient groups that this pay schedule is processing. We see a larger figure when we're done than the last one we generated for the other provider. The details reveal a large amount of activity in the calculated interval. The payroll generator saves a lot of time for payrollers at any location, even for hourly staff, as hourly staff are able to enter their work time in Caligo, and the payroll generator will apply rates, bonuses, etc. as specified by the provider's pay schedule. Especially for providers on commission, the payroll generator saves time and increases accuracy of pay. The chief benefit of the payroll generator, however, is that it makes providers accountable for their own pay and allows them to pace themselves against their targets for every month. And finally, for locations that use Ceridian or other staff pay outsourcer, there is the option of having Caligo send pay numbers directly after approval from the payroller through an electronic transmission, further reducing the time it takes to run payroll. That is, the payroll won't be spending time on the phone reciting pay numbers or on Ceridian's web user interface copying numbers from one screen to another. So that's it for this video on payroll number generation. Thanks for watching.